It became a strong challenge for Mercedes to beat George Russell's pole position for Red Bull at the Mexican Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton topped the timesheet in Q1 and Q2 at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez to continue the strong form Mercedes has shown throughout the weekend, but it was the 2022 world champion who managed to find extra performance when it mattered most. His 117.775 secured his first Mexico pole and put him 3/10 clear of Russell, with Hamilton just a fraction behind his teammate, while the other Red Bull, Sergio Perez, finished fourth at his home circuit. A disappointing session for Ferrari saw Carlos Sainz in fifth, where Alfa Romeo's Valtteri Bottas spectacularly beat Charles Leclerc to sixth. It's just a sixth pole up of the season for Verstappen, who was seeking a record 14th victory of the campaign after sealing his successive Drivers' Championship in 2 rounds ago in Japan. With Verstappen and his team's best performance during their brilliant season having usually been saved for Sunday, Mercedes faced major challenge to deny the Dutchman in Sunday's race. However, Mercedes have undoubtedly enjoyed their best Friday and Saturday of the season, and having 2 cars behind the Red Bull with a long run to the first corner will give them hope of seeing a first victory of the year. It was a good quali, I think, said Verstappen. It was a close one, but after FP3 we made a few adjustments on the car and we got into a better rhythm. To be on whole here is amazing, of course. It's a very long round down to turn 1, so we do need a good start. I think we have a quick car, and that's what is important, he said. But Mercedes have been well placed to challenge for what could have been the second pole of the season after delivering a 1-2 in final practice earlier on Saturday, but Verstappen immediately down a marker at the start of quali. The Dutchman's more cautious approach through the early stages of the lap paid off, as his stronger final sector performance put him ahead of the Silver Arrows after their first run. Verstappen and Leclerc, who were second at the time, were the only cars who opted not to return to the circuit for a second run on an improving track, which gave Hamilton the opportunity to set the fastest time in the dying moments. The 7-time world champion also ended Q2 at the top, but he used fresh soft tyres while Verstappen used used. Despite that, the fact that at the end of Q2 only 0.14 separates the top 4 of Hamilton, Sainz, Russell and Verstappen, a dramatic Q3 beckoned. However, finally unleashing his car's full potential, Verstappen was able to outpace Russell by more than 10 in their opening runs, while Hamilton lost his time for exceeding track limits at turn 3. That meant Hamilton had to exercise a certain amount of caution on his second and final run, damaging hopes of a pole. Those hopes were further dented when Verstappen improved, and despite having appeared in touch after 2 seconds, as Hamilton once more faded to finish 3/10 back from the leading time in third. That's the best qualifying we've had all year, so it just shows we have to keep having that perseverance and never giving up is the way forward, Hamilton said. I'm pretty happy with my position, to be honest. It's a long way down to turn 1. Russell, free to attack, appeared to be on a strong lap, but ran wide at turn 12 to end his hopes of dislodging Verstappen, who has converted 4 of his 5 poles into victories this season. The team deserve more today. They produced a really great car this weekend. It's a testament for them for all the work they've been doing. I feel like it's a pole, but it was just a terrible lap from my side, but it's great to be back on the front row. With Red Bull having sealed the constructors at the US Grand Prix last weekend, Perez completing a 1-2 in the Drivers' Championship remains a key target for them, despite enduring a challenging session where he momentarily appeared at risk of dropping out both Q1 and 2. Perez strung together a solid effort to take 4th, enhancing his hopes of overholding Leclerc's 2-point advantage. Verstappen's relatively low pole total this season in a way has been so dominant of Ferrari's qualifying pace, but it was a miserable Saturday for the Italian team. Leclerc, who crashed out second practice on Friday, and showed the size of his usual Saturday brilliance as he slotted behind Verstappen in Q1, but that was as good as it got for the red team. While the unique conditions of Mexico set at high altitude made it a challenging track, the Ferrari had to look particularly hard to handle it all weekend. Both drivers continued struggling in Q2, and Sainz finished 6th and Leclerc 8th, and they were only able to go one place better in the final showdown. The Spaniard finished almost 6/10 behind Verstappen. Valtteri Bottas, though, produced mightily brilliant efforts, going 7/10 quicker than Alfa Romeo teammate Zhou Guanyu in Q2. The former Mercedes driver crowned his brilliant display by beating Leclerc for 6th, while the other Ferrari finishing almost 8/10 back on Verstappen. Lando Norris boosted McLaren's hopes in the battle for 4th as he finished 8th ahead of the Alpine duo. Alonso earlier snuck into Q3 at the expense of Daniel Ricciardo as the McLaren looked to close in their 11-point deficit. Mick Schumacher, who continues to attempt to prove his worth to Haas and retain his seat, suffered a hugely frustrating Q1 exit after a brilliant lap for exceeding track limits was deleted. The German did a lap that would have put him 6th at the end of Q1, but it was rule 2 with all 4 wheels off the track at turn 2 and consequently missed out and handed the place to Kevin Magnussen. Schumacher was trailed by the 2 Aston Martins, the Seb Vettel and Lance Stroll, with the team's recent improvements coming to an abrupt halt. Williams duo Albon and Latifi were last on the timesheet, but were no occupy the back row, with Magnussen dropping to 19th after a 5-place grid penalty for taking new engine parts. Stroll was relegated to last. He serves a 3-place penalty for that clash with Alonso last weekend. Before I go, the final grid rundown for tomorrow. Verstappen on pole, yeah, really good job from him. Can't deny it, can you? Probably had the fastest car, but just about I was over Mercedes, but still really solid job to get on pole by 3/10. Russell in second. Yeah, good job from George. Yeah, his best quality for ages and finally matching Hamilton's pace. Hamilton in third would have been exciting to see what he could have done having top Q1 and Q2 if he'd had not that I had that deleted, and maybe there's some engine issues as well, so maybe what could have been for this, but I think third at Mexico is probably the best place to start with the run down to turn one, to be honest. Perez in fourth, yeah, couldn't match his teammate again, which is really disappointing, but still in the hunt for tomorrow. Sainz in fifth, really solid job from him. Leclerc, obviously having that crash, he's had the edge over Sainz over Leclerc all weekend, so really good from him. Bottas, my star qualifying, where did that come from? Hopefully more from Alfa Romeo needed, because we're out Aston Martin's recent form, but great job from him. Leclerc seventh, yeah, just doesn't have the pace, poor weekend with that crash, hopefully he can make up for it tomorrow. Norris once again doing a really solid job qualifying ahead of the Alpine, which he'll be happy with, but he needs to bring home those points. Same for Ricciardo, who does look a bit better this weekend. Alpine frustrated, maybe not so out qualifying Norris, but still in a good ball position. Then you've got Zhou in 12th, yeah, just didn't really have the pace of Bottas this weekend, which is disappointing, but could get points from 12th, I suppose. Tsunoda 13th, Gasly 14th, maybe slight improvement for AlphaTauri, but still not really where they want, is it? Schumacher 15th, just so frustrating for him. That really could have been a Q2, maybe even Q3 appearance with the pace he showed. So yeah, he'll be absolutely gutted with that, and it's just those mistakes you can't afford when you're fighting for your seat. Aston Martin, yeah, really poor from them, just don't know what happened to them. Williams struggled there, when obviously had that off, but yeah, not a great weekend for Williams. Magnussen kind of getting screwed with that penalty, but maybe didn't have the pace of Schumacher with that time deleted. But anyway guys, that's it video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, no thoughts, comments down below, and further this show for daily F1 news, and subscribe to my channel, I'd greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.